Dude, they were down 5.
to the Swiss.
Are you sure, dude? I'm
The Swiss.
yeah, I think Toast is bugging. I don't think they won.
Swiss.
They lost, right?
Hey, get the Swiss.
They literally are storming the court.
Yeah. 9-1.
What's up, everybody? Happy Wednesday. Hope you all had a nice Tuesday night. I am currently 1-2 in the NBA. If I get Nuggets minus 4.5, it'll be 2-2. So hopefully, as we progress through this, we're going to go through 7 college basketball games, but hopefully the Nuggets will extend their lead a bit so I can have a 2-2 night. It was my first night really betting the NBA in a while. I put 4 bets down. None of them were big or anything, but yeah, Ole Miss was too easy. I bet that one. That was cool. Cool hit for Ole Miss. I saw, those.
That was nice that everybody sweeped that one too.
And that Michigan sharp line, the market was right on that one, keeping it short. Same goes for Clemson,
And
honestly.
I was gonna say, yeah, same for Clemson too. I'm glad I ended up staying off them because made sense.
Market was wrong on Wake Forest. That shit got bet all the way down. They lost by 13.
I'm glad I took the 7.5. As soon as I saw it under 8, I said, okay. I even texted Andy. I said, okay, I'm sorry. Got to do it.
That's right. You were taking A&M. You did say that.
I didn't put it on the website or anything because I didn't want to just play against Andy. But I told Andy if it got down to a certain
I bet
number,
against Andy all the time. I actually enjoy it.
I know, but Scoop's trying to make this whole thing a team thing. I was trying to play along. I don't like it.
All right. So we got 7 games to go through.
Until he has the most units, and then he'll be, I'm kicking their ass. That'll come at some point.
Yeah.
All right. So first game up. Awesome game. Well, if it was last year, it'd be awesome. Maybe not quite as awesome right now. Is this game in stores?
No.
Does it matter?
This is at MSG, correct?
I thought you said no more neutrals.
No. UConn.
It's in stores.
It's in stores? All right. So MSG is the good.
There's stores and Hartford. They have 2 homes.
Harry Gamble Pavilion in stores, Connecticut.
Yes, Gamble is in stores.
Yeah,
I'm familiar with Gamble.
Okay. Did you commit a felony at Gamble? Is that why
just
you got
outside
kicked out
of it.
UConn? Got it.
On the
That's
steps.
all right. My bad. I apologize. Andy, I'll let you go first because you love your UConn Huskies. So
am I crazy here? Why is this Baylor 2.5 with no Caravan? Alex Caravan, best player on UConn, not playing. Why is Baylor not favored? I understand they're bad at defending the 3, but tell me, UConn has not only, I guess they're not technically the post Maui because they did already play a game. But they're not shooting. They're shooting the ball well statistically, but we saw them in Maui against the good defenses. This team was not very good. They don't move the ball well. The guard play is awful. Without Caravan, I have a hard time believing they're going to be able to rebound as well as they would with them. So I have Baylor. I bet against UConn. That doesn't happen often. I know he has Baylor as well. Maybe I'm falling into a trap. I think Baylor should win the game outright, and they're plus 2.5. They were plus 3.5, I think, when it opened. Maybe I'm crazy. I think they're plus 2 now. It was plus 4. Yeah, this line's clearly being bet down, but even the fact that Baylor was underdogs without Caravan or is underdogs without Caravan is crazy to me because I don't think that this UConn team is necessarily that good with him. Now they don't have him. I think that this could be a big mismatch.
Yeah, for normally I would be like, hey, this is a sketchy price, but they are the defending champs, so would it be crazy to think UConn has an extra tax?
Honestly, I feel the exact same way as I feel like Old Miss today, and I'm not just saying that because they win. I made Baylor minus 1.5. UConn isn't good. I don't want to hear it anymore. I don't have nobody can say anything about them that they are good.
It's early December, relax. Hit that.
It's early December. They lost. Let's just keep in mind that I understand that they went out to Maui, but keep in mind they lost all 3 games. So they don't even get credit for losing to good teams. Dayton, Colorado, Memphis. Those are not even top 25 teams. So usually when you go out to Maui, if you're losing to big name teams like those ones that they lost to or when they're playing those other ones. But regardless, this line makes no sense. Absolutely no sense at all. I think that Baylor has been tested And it shows that first and foremost, strength of schedule. Baylor's played the 20th hardest strength of schedule in the country. UConn 346. And again, goes up to the point where they didn't play anybody in Maui, so they don't get any credit for being bad or playing for good teams. I don't give them any credit for that. This Baylor team lost to a Gonzaga team that is one of the best teams in the country. Yes, Gonzaga had a bad game against West Virginia, but besides that, they've been impeccable. They played a really good game against Arkansas in a neutral. They played a game against Sam Houston State at home, and Sam Houston State, I mean, I'm not trying to make a case that they're like UConn or anything, but they're a top 150, top 130 team in the country. They played St. John's. They won in St. John's against a neutral in a double overtime. They lost to Tennessee, who's the second best team in the country. I just feel like this is, I don't even understand. Again, I don't even understand this line. Baylor has seen multiple defenses that are better than UConn. They've seen better offenses than UConn. And with Caravan being out, I mean, I thought this number was crazy. Like Andy said, I thought this number was crazy to start with as well. Not to mention the fact that, especially if you take Caravan out, that experience level for UConn goes completely out the window. And Baylor's one of the most experienced teams in the country. So, yeah, I mean, UConn is a little bit bigger than them, but at the same time, like, I just don't see how UConn's going to be scoring here. The guard play for Baylor is just head and shoulders better. I mean, they're going to have to play Aiden Mahaney in actual minutes in this game, and that's just going to be an absolute disaster. I would set the line at 2.5 technicals for Mr. Hurley. I know I'm making a jook there, but seriously, if Aiden Mahaney is on the floor, he's going to absolutely lose his mind.
Rodfather chimed in. He says, bet on Scott Drew on the money line against Big East Conference opponents. Drew's record as coach of Baylor, 15-4 on the money line.
Oh, I love you, Rob.
You love to see it.
Love it. Also, by the way, UConn not the best shooting team in the first place. Again, their numbers look good because they were in Maui, but you take out Caravan, who is shooting 46% from deep. So, again, that's just a very big loss for UConn. By far their best player. I think they're only NBA talent on that team.
Andy, how many bets did you have today?
I had 4 posted.
Oh, my bad.
Well, I saw
13.
that horrible pick. Neither Kentucky nor Wisconsin was on my ticket, and I gained a unit and a half today. I'm
I was
not
gonna
bragging,
say,
but like I didn't bet either of those games because
you can't win with some people, man.
The comments talking shit about Andy?
Yeah, he's like on fire. You know, he goes horrible picks on.
Horrible.
He hit a 3-team parlay for like plus 200 too.
He had an awesome day.
I think everybody. I was up a unit and a half. Andy was up a unit and a half. I think Scoop's gonna sweep the board, so he'll be up like a unit and a half. He only had 3 games too.
I have UCLA. I just did it last minute. Scoop's gonna sweep because UCLA's playing like shit.
Yeah,
I told you.
That's you. I mean, you could go 7-2, and someone's going to comment like, "Those 2 picks were so bad." Okay, all right. Virginia, Florida. Is this one in Gainesville? All right, you guys go. I have to freaking the toilet upstairs runs and makes a crazy noise, so I have to go turn that off. So you guys go ahead. What are your picks? I'll put it up before I walk upstairs.
Virginia.
Ew.
Florida.
Okay, you guys can battle it out. I'll be back in 40 seconds.
Go ahead and make your case, Andy. I don't get it. I don't get it.
So it's kind of a thing I said before. I'm big on the home team getting to dictate the pace, and I think if Florida dictates the pace in this game, good luck, Virginia. They play about an opposite pace than Virginia wants to play. Virginia not defending the 3 as well as they usually do. Not that Florida is shooting the 3 great this year, but at home they are significantly better shooting. Walter Clayton's much better at home. They're just overall much better at home. And tell me how Virginia's gonna put up points. Like Virginia has
turn defense into. I think they can turn defense into offense.
Shut down here, but I think it is likely that this is going to be not the same, but similar to the Tennessee-Syracuse game today, where I think that Florida has a lot of offense, especially at home. They can move quick. They have a lot of different angles they can hit you at. Plus, they have a good size advantage. Virginia is very close to like Syracuse. They don't really have an offense. They need to beat you defensively and then kind of drill the clock down from you. And I don't think that's going to work in Gainesville. So Todd Golden's team's playing well for him right now. I will say they played really well in their MTE. They blew out Wichita State. Didn't even look like I know. They played in a bad MTE, but I mean they made Wichita State look like they were an NAIA program. I mean they're on all cylinders right now. So I think Florida's going to blow them out.
Again, I guess I should preface this by saying I'm not betting Virginia. I feel like the number's making me have to. The only reason I made Florida -12. Again, I'm not betting Virginia. We're nobody. Their strength of schedule is 300. Their best win is Florida State, who went on the road today and got absolutely embarrassed in the second half by LSU, who's not a good basketball team. I don't care what you say. Not that Andy was giving LSU any credit. I know a few people that do, but Andy talked a lot about dictating the pace, and that is one thing that I will say that Virginia hasn't seen a team like with the pace of Florida so far this year. The only other team that's even remotely close to that was Tennessee, I think, or St. John's.
And they didn't look like a competitive basketball.
Exactly. They got absolutely throttled in that game. And not only is Florida play at a faster pace, but their also offense is better. My only retort to that would be is that Virginia rarely gets out of their style. They will absolutely, I mean, all of their games, it doesn't matter who it was. Even the St. John's game was only 63 possessions. So, and when you're playing games around that 60 possession number, your offense almost has to be flawless, like St. John's was that night, again, when they played Virginia. But again, I lean Virginia just because they're one of the only teams in the country that do not adapt. You really have to play to their speed. So I think they make the game a crawl. Like I said, I lean Virginia. I'm not betting these bastards, though. They're not. They're terrible. Absolutely terrible.
I just want the record to show that the problem is with the plumbing. I didn't destroy the toilet, as someone said. No, it's the toilet in the master bedroom. I never use it because I'm always down here. I'm like,
I was just about to say that. I was like, I didn't even know you used that one.
Yeah, I never go up there. I walk in to sleep and then I wake up and walk out and usually use the other bathroom upstairs. But yeah, all right. So Rodfather says, bet on Florida in home games in the first half after scoring 80 points or more in the previous game. Florida's record in the first half in those instances, 11-0. So Florida first half, the Rodfather likes.
I'll take that. I'd take that.
Florida first half. All right, let's move on to the next game, which is
especially because Virginia's coming off of 2 home games. There's a lot of these games that we're talking about. A lot of these teams were playing neutrals, and Virginia's not one of those teams.
Someone said Kirms is laying the third nuke.
Oh my god!
How is North Carolina laying here?
You're gonna hate this. So you have we have another system that you're gonna hate.
Oh my god!
You know how there's island rims. And now there's Maui fades, and we have arrived with the Maui fades, ladies and gentlemen.
What does that even mean?
We saw it was after you're coming out of Maui, not only the travel, even though they have days off and whatnot, travel. Also, you've been playing on those island rims, bro. So all your stats, you're all feeling good, and then you start playing these brick layer rims at some of these places. Your shot doesn't look good. Just Pacific was a 13.5 or 14.5 first half dog against Colorado. They won outright. Today, like I said on the show today, Western Michigan plus 14.5 against Dayton. They won that first half outright as well. There's 3 spots today that we'll talk. A couple of them we'll talk about here. Louisiana Tech is the other one. But the first half lines aren't out yet. But that's what Island or Maui fades are. You fade the teams coming out of Maui because they have the travel and they played on those dinky ass rims.
Sounds stupid.
I know it.
I knew he was gonna say it's stupid. It's
Oh, I
real.
know.
So what team are you taking? I don't even know who was in Maui, dude.
Roll Tide. Roll Tide.
Carolina was in Maui.
All right.
I believe they were in the No, Memphis was.
So, and to answer your question, the North Carolina's -2 because Alabama's just got dealt an injury bug with Right Shell being hurt, which is a pretty big. He's one of their 3-point shooters. I don't think that really matters though. Andy might disagree, but I feel like as long as we have Sears, Nelson, and Philon, we're going to be good. Now, Philon's a freshman. He's going to be going up against guys like RJ Davis and Elliot Cardo. So maybe that gives him a little bit of trouble, but I feel like he's been playing pretty damn well for this Alabama team. And now he's going to be in a role here or against this North Carolina team that I don't really feel has been that impressive. And not to mention the fact that Alabama's been tested over and over and over again. I mean, McNeese over there, they had a couple cookies, excuse me, their first couple games, but even their cookies were good. I mean, UNC Asheville, one of a really good mid-major team. Arkansas State, a very good mid-major team, a borderline top 100 team. McNeese, another top 100 team. Purdue, 13. Illinois, 14. Houston, 5. Rutgers, 72. Oregon's 21. They're going to be a top 15, maybe a top 10 team in the next couple of weeks. So Alabama has been absolutely tested. And the one thing that you usually think about as far as North Carolina, especially this season, is their defense. But their defense is only 65th in the nation. And again, they're really good. But again, Alabama has seen really good defenses this year. Arkansas State 37, Illinois number 1, Houston 29, Oregon 65. Again, I just don't know what you're going to see from Alabama or from North Carolina that Alabama's not ready for. Does losing Right Shell suck? Yes, he's a 6'3" senior, but he didn't even start really. So at the same time, like, it's not like you're losing some huge piece that I don't think that you can replace. So I think that Darian Reed's going to get a little bit more action here. I really like Alabama. I like Alabama in the first half for sure, and I'm going to be I played Alabama plus 2.5 as well. But I think that North Carolina didn't really look good in Maui in the first place. I watched that game against Hawaii, and they were really not good in the first half. They had a really good second half. Obviously, they beat Dayton, but again, that was a 2-point win for them. And then obviously they lost to Auburn. That's fine. And then they really didn't look great against Michigan State. They had a crazy comeback with those island rims, and they kept on hitting 3 balls. I don't think that's gonna. I mean, if that happens today, I guess so be it. But I think Alabama is the best team that they've played all season, not named Auburn. And I think they're going to lose today. Or tomorrow.
Sounds like a bunch of bullshit. I'm putting North Carolina up.
Please do.
Okay. Yeah, so I think something that you don't always see early, well, you do see it early in the season, but we don't always mention it. It's what have you faced in terms of pace? Because both of these teams run fast paces. UNC's 6th, Alabama's 14th. But the difference is the UNC defense, their opponent's average possession length is 324th. Alabama's is 135th. That's because they've played faster teams. McNeese runs a pretty fast pace, if I remember. I believe, obviously, we know some of the better teams they faced it as well, Illinois and Purdue. But so those teams, so Alabama's more inclined and more prepared defensively to face a fast pace like this. So I think that helps a lot coming into this game, especially going on the road. Obviously, the Maui part has played an effect, and I wouldn't make it my whole bet. But
how's that not a foul?
It has very clearly made a difference to these teams so far. Dayton today was a perfect example because in the first half, they basically didn't show up. Western Michigan had the lead in the first at halftime. So it was very clear that was an issue. So, yeah, I think there's advantage. Also, there's a significant height advantage for Alabama. Darian Reed will finally get some time to play. He was a highly recruited freshman. I believe he was right behind. He was a couple spots behind Asa Newell. So I was very focused on his recruiting as well. So yeah, I if giving him more time to play helps a ton as well. I don't love going with freshmen against North Carolina, but I think it can help them. So they have a lot of talent. So I think Alabama should cover and probably win this game. I said it. I think the SEC is going to win a lot of these ACC SEC games.
We get it. You like the SEC.
I was going to parlay all the teams together. The only team that lost was Kentucky today. Actually, honestly, the team that I think a lot of people knew it was pretty trappy and felt tough.
Also, North Carolina, the times that they faced good offenses like Kansas, Auburn, and Michigan State, they lost all those games, just for the record.
Got something in from the Rodfather. Bet on North Carolina in home games after failing to cover the spread in 3 or more consecutive games. 6-0 against the spread since last season. I'm with it, Rodfather. I'm with it, Rod. I'm with now. You guys are playing into these sketchy lines like you did with Michigan, like you did with Kentucky. I
didn't bet either one of those.
Yeah, but still.
You're right. I picked the wrong side, but I'm just saying this is not it.
This is a sketchy line telling the Maui fade or whatever the fuck he said.
No, you got it right the first time. It's all good.
Well, let's go on to the next game. Kansas, Creighton. Andy Toast can't talk about Big East ball, so what do you think?
Did you say he can't talk about it?
Yeah, he just doesn't know shit about East Coast basketball.
I believe, I don't know the stat. Kalkbrenner's not playing, right? It sounds like he's not.
I mean, I don't know Big East ball, but that's. I mean, he didn't. I don't know. I guess. I would assume they said it was more precautionary. The last game that they played was that Notre Dame, right? So I don't really know. It's a lower body injury or an abdominal injury or something of that nature. I would assume this line being 4.5 is assuming the books are assuming that he plays, because if he's not playing, you got to assume this line's at least 6, at least two full possessions, right?
I honestly think it's going to get covered anyway. I mean, I know it's on the road, tough environment in Omaha, but man, I this Kansas team, I've said it, they always find a way, but also like, I mean, we said that against Duke too. They can do anything they want inside, and even if Kalkbrenner plays, he can get pushed around a little bit. We've seen it. I mean, he can get pushed around a little bit. So, yeah, they can do whatever they want. So they're 8th in field goal percentage from the 2-point percent. I mean, they can literally do whatever they want when they want to there. So they have a little bit of a size, or they actually have a size disadvantage. It doesn't happen very often. But Hunter Dickinson's better than anybody.
If Kalkbrenner plays, they have an advantage. If they don't, they're screwed, because then Hunter Dickinson's just going to do whatever the hell he wants with no 7-footers sitting there.
That would be my ideal situation. I already bet Kansas. My ideal situation would be he doesn't play at all. But like, even if he does, I think that Hunter Dickinson's still going to be able to do. He's been able to do whatever he wants on anybody. He's been able to do it on Duke. Anybody he goes up against, he's pretty much been able to.
I mean, I'm glad that you mentioned that Duke game, because he didn't play for the second half essentially, and Kansas still won that game. And Duke is head and shoulders better than Creighton. So that game was on a neutral. Obviously, this game's in Creighton, but I think that Creighton's getting a little bit of love just because of their name. I mean, they didn't look good against Nebraska at all. They obviously got throttled by San Diego State. I mean, Texas A&M, I understand that loss. That's a good team, but I mean,
they should have covered.
Probably, yeah. But I forgot you had that one.
No, I mean, people are in the comments. This is a show where we go through the biggest games on the board. If you just want to see what these two guys are betting, just go to the website and look at their bets. This is the show. We go through the biggest games on the board, so we do. Toast, you agree with Kansas?
Yeah, 100%.
This looks like another sketchy line to me, though.
I think that Creighton's getting a little bit of respect on just their name and then being at home. But at the same time, this is Kansas's first true away game. So, I mean, North Carolina, Michigan State, Duke, obviously all those are really good teams, but those all are home or on neutrals. But again, I continue to say that I believe in Kansas. I think that Dwan Harris, KJ Adams, and Hunter Dickinson are the best 1, 2, 3 in the nation, and I'll continue to keep saying that. I hate Hunter Dickinson, but his ability to rebound and control the paint on offense, it can't be argued. So again, whether Kalkbrenner plays or not, clearly he's not 100%, and if he doesn't play, any size advantage that Creighton might be able to match up with Kansas kind of goes out the door. I like Kansas. I made Kansas -6.5. I don't think the line's that sketchy, but I think the line tells you that Kalkbrenner plays, or at least tries to.
All right, so on to the next one. I'm not touching that.
I always say that college football is not transactional. College basketball is not either. But we did 2 weeks ago see Creighton get ran off the floor against Nebraska, their own home floor,
and won.
It could happen. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Kansas did it to them. Also, Creighton's not hitting shots, which is what they need to do. They're facing a good team that defends the 3 very well. So I don't like the matchup at all, even with Kalkbrenner.
No, because if they're not hitting they can't shoot the 3, they're going to have to do it inside. And you have KJ Adams and Hunter Dickinson to deal with. Like, yeah.
Rod likes the under in that one, by the way.
Hope he got 153.
He just said, when the total is 150 to 159.5 is what he said.
Matter to him.
Michigan State, Minnesota. Big Ten matchup here. This one's in Minnesota?
It is. Go ahead, Andy.
January, February, Izzo?
I'll be honest. I was very tossy-turny on this one. It kind of just feels like a game Michigan State loses. If I'm being the early season Michigan State, they play these games where, like, if I remember last year, they lost one of these early season Big Ten games and just they don't care. Honestly, they're the one program.
Wasn't Minnesota the team that was covering nonstop and they hit that reverse layup?
They were amazing against the spread last year. I think they're the opposite this year. They're an awful basketball team. I watched them play their game against Wichita State, I think it was, in their MTE, and it put me to sleep. It was awful. It was on Thanksgiving. They're terrible, but again, like Michigan State early in the season, they do this. I mean, we've seen it in the Champions Classic for years, obviously against much tougher opponents, but they sleepwalk through pretty much the first 2 months of the year because they know when it actually matters. I mean, it's said as a joke, January, February. Is it like that's a real thing?
No,
like, they don't necessarily give a crap until January. So like what is a meaningless game against Minnesota in early December mean to
It's a
them?
conference
I don't know.
game. It's a conference game.
I know it's a conference game, but this is I mean, they play these games every year early in December, and they never seem to care. So like, if you want the actual basketball reasons, the team can't shoot. I mean, I hate taking teams on the road that already can't shoot. Like, how many 3-pointers is Michigan State gonna hit in this game? 3? Like they maybe 1. They can't shoot. What do you think?
Just a quick question, Andy. Where did Michigan State play their last 3 basketball games?
Oh, they put him in Maui, sir.
Minnesota first half plus 2.5. I think it should be around 2.5. We'll see what it is, but regardless, I'll be on Minnesota for sure. Those Maui fades, boys. I'm just going to continue to keep on riding that hot hand.
Does Maui fade even matter if you can't hit shots there or in America?
That's such a little bit true.
In America? Hold on, you said in America.
Meant
Oh, so they left Maui and they traveled to they left Maui and traveled to America. Is what you're saying?
Screw you. I meant where I am.
I like Michigan State here. PJ Fleck doesn't have the same run defense at home that he used to, and it's just that they don't have the same home field advantage.
Keep in mind, I just want to make it clear, guys, that Minnesota's terrible. Like, they're not good. This is like puts the Maui fades to the ultimate test. Knowing that Izzo's a little bit sleepy at the beginning of the year, and the Gophers are absolutely terrible. They've played nobody. I'm just telling you right now, this is putting the Maui. This is a bet for me. There's absolutely 100% though.
Tie
if
game.
You want to know how bad Minnesota's games were in their MT? They played a overtime game 68-66, and they played a regulation game 57-51. This is an awful basketball team. They play good defense, but like, I don't think like Michigan State plays really good defense too. So I would take an under. Numbers already 131.5. So
Steph missed.
It's 130. It's already moving down too. So
the under's even cooked too by the fact it's so low.
All right. Next up.
This is the game of the night.
Is that a foul? That's a foul. Tie game here.
Play on.
This is the game of the night, you said, Andy?
Do you think the Maui fade gets crushed here? Or it's
not a true Maui fade because Duke is a coward and they scheduled Seattle, which, by the way, Seattle covered in the first half. Thank you. So not a true Maui fade, unfortunately, for Duke.
What? Because they played a game in between.
Auburn, I'm sorry, Jesus Christ, it is Auburn. My bad, Andy. You're right.
It is a Maui one. It is a Maui fade. Duke also did really quickly. Duke did one of the weirdest scheduling quirks. They played.
I know that's what I meant with the Seattle one. I was just off.
Well, yeah, they played a neutral site game in, I think it was Vegas against Kansas. The same court that Seattle and Furman played. And then they both left, went home, and played those same teams that were at the. I didn't understand that at all. That was one of the weirdest college basketball things of the weekend. For this game, I want to take Auburn, but the Maui thing has played so well so far. I'm gonna lean Auburn though. I think this Auburn team is really, really, really good. They look like they probably should have been ranked number 1 in the AP poll if we're being honest, but that doesn't matter anyway. They are that good of a team. And I know Cooper Flagg's very talented. All the guys on that Duke team are talented. Auburn's just as talented, and they're all veterans. They're all seniors. I mean, Cardwell's senior, Broom senior. I mean, these guys are all older, can get things done. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see Auburn bullying them inside, getting what they want inside. It's tough. Bruce Pearl's teams play really good defense. So I'm going to lean Auburn, but it's a Maui thing, so I haven't bet it yet, but if maybe this thing goes up a little bit more and it gets to like 4 and people are betting Duke, maybe I'll take Auburn, but it's just a lean for me for now because it is the fade that we've been talking about, and it is Duke at home too.
Yo, Draymond Green's so mad. Warriors just blew it. I love it. I didn't listen to what Andy said. He took Auburn though. What do you think?
We know. Anyway, I agree with Auburn as far as them being the best team in the country. I think that Chad Baker-Marza kid is an absolute stud. And I think that nobody is talking about him. And that Pettiford is a freshman as a guard. I think that's what kind of holds me back with this team a little bit, was that I don't know if you can really trust him in big moments. He has made some good shots for them, but I mean, Denver Jones is meh to me. I do think this is a Duke spot, though. I again, it was a weird scheduling spot with Duke. Auburn coming out of Maui. But that's not the only reason. I think that Duke is a really good basketball team, and I think they're only going to continue to get better. I think seeing a Kentucky team that can run the way that the Kentucky runs and is a senior-laden team like Kentucky is, that was a big ask for them earlier in the season. Obviously, they came back and whooped Arizona's ass on the road, which is a really, really good win. I don't know how that's going to hold up in the next couple of months because Arizona might stink. And then they lost a really close game to Kansas, which, again, Kansas lost Hunter Dickinson in that game too, but I don't know how much I put into it. Kansas is a very, very good basketball team as well. So, again, I think that Cooper Flagg can really carry the load here. And I think the guys like Knipple and Proctor, especially being at home, you can count on them shooting. Whereas on the Auburn side, again, Broom's an absolute animal. Chad Maker-Mazzara is an absolute animal. It's the game of the night. Again, it's a Maui fade thing for me, but more than anything, I do think that this Duke defense is for real, and I think they have enough shot makers at home to make Auburn's life a little bit difficult. I'm very curious to see how Auburn looks because Auburn's also played a very good schedule. They've played like a top 10 schedule. They've got Houston, Iowa State, North Carolina, Memphis. Memphis continues to go up. Kent State's like a top 100 team. Vermont's a top like 175 team. So again, Auburn's been tested. You're not going to hear me say anything bad about Auburn, but I think spot wise, this screams Duke. Also, this line was Duke minus 1.5. I think it's 2.5. You might see 3 start to pop up sooner or later as well. So just some clear movement on. I mean, I haven't bet this yet. I'm sorry. I bet the Duke money line. I wouldn't be laying over 3 with them if it continues to move. 2.5 would be an absolute max for me.
That's a foul.
It's not. It's a play on.
Oh my God, I'm gonna get hooked in this.
What game are you watching? Just so I can.
Warriors Nuggets. I mean, it's 1.9 seconds left. I needed him to foul right there.
They're up 10 now, so we got a chance to cover that one.
That's
Did you have the under or what? Over?
No, me. I had Nuggets minus 4.5. They're up 4, and they just got the rebound, and they called it a jump ball instead of a foul. If they called it a foul, you would have shot free throws at 1 point. I just got hooked on that shit.
A cup game?
Yeah.
That almost over.
So somebody's getting hooked every night at this show. Andy got hooked last night during the show. You just got hooked. I guess I'm getting hooked tomorrow.
Yep. Game over. Hooked. That was a foul. He grabbed his shoulder before the ball.
I'm curious what you have to say about this. This is the stupidest line of the night. Am I wrong with this?
I mean, you already know what I'm about to say. I mean, I'm sure you could say it verbatim. You don't lay points with Rodney Terry on the road. Period.
I am.
My God. Good. Then why do you even ask me to go first? You already knew that's what I was going to say.
Oh, I had 2 Rodfathers for that last one real quick. Bet on Auburn on the money line after 3 straight games, forcing opponents to commit 14 or less turnovers, 14-1 in those instances. And the other one, bet on Bruce Pearl on the money line after 3 or more consecutive wins. 62-20 when they're on a 3-game winning streak. So, all right. So, Andy's on Texas and Tosa's on NC State. Burns is gone, right?
I haven't bet NC State. I'm going to wait till it gets bet up to like 3.5 or whatever. But yes, the chances of me betting NC State are very high. All right, go ahead, Andy.
Right when I saw 2.5, I took Texas. Texas defends inside really well. NC State's 18th in point distribution from the 2-pointers. So they only want to shoot 2s. And that's where Texas is defending number 1 in the country. Number 1 in the country. NC State can't rebound. I understand the game is at home. I get it. I don't think that matters for Texas. Look, Texas is probably better than NC State on paper, probably more talented. It's not that significant. I made it sound like it was really significant, but they've played better opponents. We just saw NC State take that step up in class, and they did not handle it well. When they went up against Purdue, it was very clear they were outmatched. I think they're just as outmatched here. I don't know why you're looking at me like that. I think Texas.
Did you say that Texas has played better opponents?
I think they're about even in terms of playing opponent. I mean, they played Syracuse and Ohio State. I guess Syracuse is really, really bad.
Syracuse is terrible, Andy. Syracuse is
not that bad of a team though, and they wiped that. They won by 9. So like that's a good team.
They've also played 350 Houston Christian, 360 Chicago State, 345 Delaware State. I mean, Rodney Terry masterclass on the scheduling for sure. Absolutely, 100%.
But you're saying that NC State played 348, 234, 283, 245.
And now they just played 2 teams. They just played two teams on a neutral that they barely lost by 10-age, one being Purdue, one being BYU. Both of those teams are significantly better than Texas. And now they're back home. They're back home playing Texas in their first true road game of the year.
I have the strength of schedule numbers up. Texas 47th in strength of schedule, NC State 69th.
That is not even close to being correct. Texas is 356 and NC State is 237.
So they both played piles of
What
crap.
do you mean I'm looking at it?
Handled their
I don't know what website you're looking at. It's wrong. I'm telling you right now, it's wrong.
All right.
I'm just saying they lost both of their good games by double digits. Texas at least. I get that. Ohio State game was a neutral site at the beginning of the year, so I don't even take anything into account on that one. I mean, I don't know.
And they lost by 8.
The matchup is also well. That's what I'm saying. It was a neutral site to start the season against a pretty good Ohio State team. Like I don't take that much into account in that one. Plus, they had a freshman go off against them in that game. I mean, there's nothing you could do about that. Probably didn't even know the guy existed. So like I didn't take anything into that game. So I'm sorry. I think they match up. I said it. All NC State wants to do is shoot twos. The number one team in the country at defending 2-pointers is Texas. I'm not saying that that's a complete reason, but that's very clear that they match up really well against NC State. NC State is nowhere near the team that they were last year. I think to step up, I know you said that they were close games. They lost both games by double digits. Let's not act like they went to overtime with these teams. I mean, they still lost by double digits. And BYU just got wiped out today by Providence. Providence sucks. They played a close game with Hampton. So, like, I mean, really, what did NC State do in their neutral site? I mean, they did nothing. They proved nothing to anybody. You know what they proved? They proved that they're really not that good. And that's what I'm saying. I think Texas is better than them.
The Rod father is on NC State. He says, bet against Rodney Terry in away or neutral games after scoring 80 points or more. Rodney Terry's record as coach of Texas, 1-9.
Oh, yeah, he's fucking terrible. He's one of the worst coaches in the country. I promise you guys. Andy's smoking rocks. Listen, Andy pounded that point home about 2-point field goal percentage. But let's just take a look at Texas and who they've played. Let's see. Ohio State, a pretty decent 2-point field goal percentage. They're number 71 in the country. They lost that game. Well, they played Houston Christian. They're 342. Chicago State, 294. Mississippi Valley State, 357. I'm sorry, 362. Syracuse, who they only won by 4. Syracuse is absolutely terrible, by the way. Syracuse was 136. St. Joe's, 201. Delaware State, 353. NC State's a top 70 team shooting inside the arc. So they can't shoot for dick from deep. But I mean, again, I think this line tells you a lot. I think this is a very, very sketchy line to get this Texas team at such a cheap price against the NC State team that's on an easy. Everybody knows that they're on a down year. I actually think I'm not trying to make a case that NC State's good, but this is a significant step down in class for them after playing Purdue and BYU, and now they're at home. I think this number is low for a reason. We'll see if it gets to 3.5 or 4, we'll pack up. I'm done.
I don't know what this means. Andy's smoking sharp rocks. What does that mean?
I think it means that's a compliment that you're smoking rocks.
It's either that or he thinks you're smoking methamphetamines. I don't know.
One of the two.
When I hear the word Delaware State, I think I get PTSD.
So hold on. I want to go back. All right. So I guess North Carolina is the one I wanted to bet. To be honest, I didn't hear a ton of compelling stuff tonight.
That was awesome because you care to.
Hey, you were watching the.
You didn't hear anything compelling about Maui overs or Island rims.
Yeah, I don't like.
And
that
now
kind of
it's
shit.
Maui fades that you just don't want to believe.
The overs hit every game.
Maybe I'll bet North Carolina. I don't know. All right, guys. I'm uploading Bills Rams NFL video coming up in about 35 minutes for those of you that'll still be up at that time. If not, check it out in the morning. Angel Reese is in attendance. How do you like that?
I also already bet Loyola Marymount tomorrow against Colorado State. Colorado State's frauds, boys. Absolute frauds.
The Rams?
Yeah, I have Kansas and Mississippi State money line parlay plus 120.
Hold on. Andy said Andy just argued for NC State, his distribe about BYU losing to a bad Providence team. Where? On the road? Where did Kentucky lose to an average? I actually don't understand what he's saying. Never mind.
I didn't argue for NC State. I literally just made the argument you just made. I said they lost to BYU. BYU just got wiped off the floor by Providence. Dude, BYU's best player today didn't hit a field goal. He scored 6 points, all from the free throw line. Like, BYU looked awful tonight. How good are they?
So you don't think BYU's good either?
What?
You don't think BYU's good either?
I'm not saying they're not good. I'm just saying they didn't look good post MTE.
They're not. BYU is not that good, guys. I was on Providence tonight. You had Bryce Hopkins coming back to the dunk. Who's BYU beating? Who? Just name me a good team.
And you just tried to tell me, that was such an impressive
They beat the team. Oh man, Andy just saw him
I
doing
don't.
that.
I'm just saying that I don't like NC State as a good team. I'm just saying that's a significant step down in class facing a Rodney Terry team in their first game on the road. Rodney Terry's going to let you guys down. I promise. Bet Texas, please.
All right, I got shit to do before bed, so I got to go. But everyone, we'll see you tomorrow, same time as always. Like I said, Bills and Rams. There's an NFL video, the handicap for that game coming up in about a half hour. So see you all tomorrow. And I'm posting the betting league tonight, new week. So if you want to get in on this week of the league, I posted in the Discord, and you'll see it. If you know where I post it, you'll see it. All right, everyone, have a good night. See you guys tomorrow.
Have a good night, guys.